What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, shout out to the brother 70 Sports TV for talking about this because I hadn't even known about this. So, because I was waiting for Stephen A. Smith to talk about the whole Epstein situation on his podcast. You know, the podcast that he created on YouTube. I know he has a show on Sirius coming soon, but the YouTube podcast I thought was the reason why he created it because he would have a platform where he could speak his mind on issues outside of basketball. But apparently, Diddy's important enough for him to do 6 videos a day on. He seems to want to know all the pertinent facts when it comes to Diddy. But when it comes to people who, in the grand scheme of things, are far more important and more powerful than Diddy, and also have the ability, due to that power, if unchecked, if their wrongdoings are completely ignored by the mass media at large, could cause far greater damage to our society as far as crimes. But somehow, that's none of your business, Diddy. You know, Diddy's your business. Jay-Z is your business. Well, actually, I take that back. You protect Jay-Z because of his connections. You know what I'm saying? That's why you didn't really go in on Jay-Z because of who Jay-Z's business dealings are with that intertwine with yours. But with Diddy, that is your business. And Diddy deserves 8 videos a day from your platform. But these rich globalists, you got other things to be concerned about. Why do we care? So he was recently on Chris Cuomo's show, and they spoke about the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. And this is what Stephen Smith had to say about it.
If you're a Republican, if you're the GOP, I mean, the big, beautiful bill was just passed. Even though the deficit is going to escalate from 3.3 trillion over 5 trillion, assuming you believe the Congressional Budget Office and all of this other stuff. I mean, with all of these things that's going on, with the 2017 tax cuts reserved, with so much stuff that's going on that the left didn't want to happen, that you on the right said you wanted to happen, with the borders being closed, supposedly that being handled, with migrants being escorted out of this country in droves, according to you, and what you wanted, you're in an uproar off the Epstein list. That's all you've got. It's really, really surprising that this matters. Of course, I think there's a list, but I don't know. I suspect, but I have no knowledge, nor do I care. It's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out and enjoy myself. I'm getting ready to have a nice weekend. I could give a damn about the Epstein client list. This has no effect on me whatsoever. I have a life. I don't understand for the life of me why this matters so much to these. I'm talking about people losing it. They're crying on camera. They're talking about resignations. They're pissed off about everything. I'm like, really? With all the stuff going on in this country, with all the power that you possess because of the cachet and the influence you have because of your connection to this administration, that's why you upset at Trump. I didn't blame Trump one bit for looking at them and saying, really? That really matters to you? That's really that important? Now, maybe he had a different reason for saying it, trying to be evasive or whatever. I don't know. But I do know this. In the grand scheme of things, it ain't going to affect the lives of over 2 to 300 million Americans. I think we'll be just fine without knowing whether or not there was really, really a client list. I think we'll be okay. It's unbelievable that this is a big deal to me. It really is.
It's also unbelievable to me that Diddy is a big deal to 200, 300 million Americans. So Epstein is not important. The potential of I don't know, hundreds of people, or at least dozens of people, probably hundreds of people, the most powerful individuals on earth, taking advantage of doing the absolute most disgusting perverted and atrocious things to the most powerless people on earth, and taking the innocence away and forever ruining the lives of those who are most precious to us. And I can't even really talk the way I want to talk on here because, YouTube ain't real. I can say nigger, nigger, nigger all day on here, but I can't even call out these people for what they really are. But, we've always just been entertainment. We're not really people, you know what I'm saying? We're just entertainment to others. So they don't give a shit that Diddy is a father. They don't care that, he has family, extended family, who are being put through a terrible ordeal. He just represents the devil and demons, and he's the sacrificial lamb to take the place of Epstein and all these other people. When in reality, he probably had no connection whatsoever to Epstein. And you talk about why people give a damn about this shit. I mean, just from a moral perspective, that's reprehensible for you to say that. But I distinctly remember when Biden was in the White House, one of the favorite tactics from a lot of people who were Trump supporters was to politicize the Epstein thing and make it more about as attack against the Democratic Party. So what they made it seem like is the overwhelming majority, if not all of the people who were guilty of affiliating themselves with this scumbag Epstein, they tried to make it like it was all Democrats. They would show images of Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They would show images of Epstein and other high-ranking Democratic officials. They would, bring up suspicion of, Hollywood or Hollywood bigwigs, generally left-leaning, involved with Epstein, meeting with Epstein. And that's how you successfully politicize to the point where people were making the Democratic Party out to be the party of sin, the party of, debauchery, which the Democrats kind of helped themselves with a little bit with some of the causes they've been behind recently. And the Republican Party trying to make themselves out to be the righteous party, the party of God. Am I lying here? Now, I've always said that was bullshit. Both parties are full of shit. Both parties are just as guilty in dealing with and being affiliated with that monster. Now, all of a sudden, that these people are still demanding justice after you've had so many people in the Trump administration pump faking, even Pam Bondi saying, I have the list on my desk. It's just a matter of time. And, now you got people who really are about it. The FBI director, the FBI assistant director, according to reports, they're on the brink of resigning because they really do want justice. They really do want to reveal the list and expose these weirdos and these cretins and these people who are 1,000, well, I'll say 10 times worse than a Diddy. But they're protected. And they're protected because they have real power. Diddy has power, but not the power that you guys think he does. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but this kind of reminds me of the DC Madam. The DC Madam led a call girl ring, a very high-profile call girl ring in Washington, where all of the most powerful Washington players used this ring. And I remember she came out. She was supposed to come out with a book, and she was supposed to name names. And she said she had a ledger, and she was going to name the people who were uh, she was going to have a press conference, and she was going to name the people who were in this ledger. And she went on Howard Stern, and she said that, Howard, uh, I'm not in a mental mode where I'm even thinking about unaliving myself. I'm in a good place mentally, So if something happened to me, better believe that it wasn't me. And guess what happened? 2 weeks later, I think it was, or 3 weeks later, she was found unalived in a trailer, hanging. There was no sign of a ledger. And some people think that whoever she let in was somebody that probably had fooled themselves or masqueraded as something else, and they got to her and they took it. And we never found out who these high ranking people were. So at the end of the day, you can mislead with this bullshit. If there was no client list, then why is the lady Maxwell, what's her name? Justine Maxwell, why is she in prison? Why is she in prison? I'm not stupid. Okay? Maybe some of these other people are stupid and imbecilic. I know why these people don't want to talk on this, because their bosses are probably some of the people who are a part of the whole experience when it comes to Epstein. The people who run the media empires, Disney, uh, you know, all these companies, all these different news agencies are all owned now by the top 3 or 4 news conglomerates. And those who are at the top, more than likely, have either a connection to Epstein or they have a connection with whoever's the new underground. Matter of fact, that's another question needs to be put out there. Do people think this stuff has stopped? Because it hasn't. They're just more secretive with it now. So these people continue to engage, I'm certain, in these same behaviors. But you're not going to hear Stephen A. Smith. You're not going to hear, say Chris Cuomo. You're not going to hear any of these people who want to be mainstream speak on this. See, Candace Owens does not want to be a mainstream news journalist. These people want to be mainstream. And to be mainstream, you got to play that game. Because if they ever did try to do what Candace Owens would do, that's the end of their careers. If not the end of other things more important to them. You know what I'm saying? The people who run the music industries, the people who run the entertainment industry and the movie industries, the people who are at the top of all this shit, man, the richest people, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, royalty, presidents, other world leaders, they're the ones we're talking about that are more than likely on these lists. The head of, the airline industries and, you know what I'm saying? Billionaires. When I say billionaires, I'm talking about real billionaires. I'm talking about motherfuckers that got 50 billion in the bank. 50 billion with a B. They're the ones that run the world, not Diddy. He's just a nigga distraction. Since I can say the N-word on here with impunity. So Stephen A. Smith is just cutting jigs, man. We're not supposed to care about those people. We're supposed to care about Diddy. We're supposed to care about athletes, smoking weed. We're supposed to care about WNBA players pushing Caitlin Clark on a foul. You can talk about that all day, but you can't talk about what really matters. It's just funny, man. It's crazy. Children have, I'm telling you, man, whatever. Children have fewer and fewer rights. in this country, and it's like children are being replaced by pretty girls, pretty women, I should say. Pretty 304s get more empathy now than children do. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. The only group that seems to get any empathy when it comes to children are the same people who have a decidedly nasty ulterior motive when it comes to children. The alphabets. That's all I'll say about that. Anyway, that's all I got to say about it, man.